Alright guys, so Fula coming to you with another video. Shout outs to the whole LGBC. So yeah, man, in this video, man, I just kind of want to tap into the recent statements by Bivol. You know, Bivol wants all fades, man. He wants to clean out the 175 division. You know, that's what he has in mind. You know, upon Twitter and other social media sources, it is said that, you know, Bivol has made offers to Vox6. Bivol has made offers to Berturbiev, I believe is his name, or Benerbiev, I don't know, one of them. That he made an offer to Kovalev. That basically he made an offer to all belt holders because he believes that he wants to unify. You know, that's what he wants to do. So man, I've always been big on Bivol, man. If anybody has ever asked me, hey, who's your favorite light heavyweight, I've always said I mess with Bivol, man, because it seems like he wants that smoke, you know, and and for me, I really don't think it's a name drop with him. I think he legitimately wants to fight these guys, you know, because if he made offers to them, obviously he wants that fade, you know. So with that being said, he said they have heard nothing back. You know what I mean? With this report, I guess the parties involved are looking at it as high risk, low reward. You know, that's usually the case most of the time with these fighters, man. Is that, you know, when there's a young, hungry lion or there's someone who wants to prove themselves, it's very difficult for them to get into the mix because the thing that comes up, the statement, these four words will always come up. High risk, low reward. You know, those are the statements that will usually be mentioned when it comes to these fighters, man. Now, I'm going to tell you something, man. Bivol, you know, don't get me wrong. You know, I was really put on the map with Bivol when, you know, unfortunately, he gave my Cuban brother a knockout, you know, Sullivan Barrera. You know, he knocked him out. You know, but even before that, that dude, Bivol, was boxing circles around Barrera, you know. So with that being said, I've always thought highly of Bivol, man, for real. Now, we do know that he did go all the way with Pascal Martin, but the thing is about that guy is he's a seasoned veteran, and so, you know, although he's on his last leg, although that Kovalev beat him, you know, those veterans, man, they still are sturdy, you know what I mean? So it's like very difficult to like just get them out of there. You know, even with the Kovalev stoppage, basically, that was done by throwing in the towel. It wasn't even done by, how should I say it? It wasn't even done by, a stoppage or anything like that, like a official stoppage or a knockout. Pascal still wanted to fight until his trainer Freddie Roach threw in the towel, which I commend him for, but I don't commend Freddie Roach for anything else besides that, you know. but that's neither here nor there. Also, Bivol went 12 rounds, I think, with Joe Smith, I think. Now, you know, the thing is, styles make fights. And, you know, some of these styles would be custom made, you know, for Bivol. Some of these styles would give Bivol some issues, but for me, like, Bivol's like a complete fighter. You know, he has everything that I think, with his skill set, he has quite a bit of everything. Counterpunching, hiding punches, and revealing punches with one hand. You know, I remember in that Sullivan Barrera fight, he acted like he was going to throw a flicker jab, but he ended up hooking Sullivan Barrera. You know, so he has that ability. And so that's why I can mess with him in that regard, you know, because he's a very clever fighter, man. And he also got good footwork, too. You know, very good footwork. Knows how to keep the distance very well. He's a fighter that frustrates you, man. I really like him. I really like his style. And plus, he got power. That's what I like about him, too. You know, he got some pop. Now, this was also interesting, what he said. There was something else that was very interesting that he said. He said, if Canelo wants a challenge on September 14th, look no further. You know, and to take it a step further, he not only said that it would be on September 14th, he gave Canelo the option of either fighting him at light heavyweight or fighting him at super middleweight. So making the weight isn't a problem for him, which tells me that this guy stays disciplined. And from what I see from his IG, he's a gym rat, you know? So I highly doubt that Canelo will take this fight. I really doubt it. Actually, I'm like 99.9% sure that Canelo wouldn't take this fight, you know, at 168 or 175. But one thing's for certain, Bivol will whoop Canelo's ass. Point blank, period. You know, I don't need to even go into why he would win against Canelo. You know, there's no need for me to even break down that fight. You know, if you don't know why he will beat the brakes off of Canelo, then, you know, perhaps maybe you should, I don't know, maybe go to a boxing gym instead of just being a spectator. And see, that's the thing about most of these Canelo fans and these Triple G fans. This is the thing about most of these fans. Most of these Canelo and Triple G fans have never stepped foot in a boxing gym. Okay? They're just going off the eye test and saying that, such and such is like an invincible fighter, you know? And it's like, man, like, it makes no sense to even go back and forth with him at this point, man, because it's like, why go back and forth with someone who doesn't even box? Like, why go back and forth with someone who's just probably fat, sitting in their mom's basement, and looking at Canelo as in almost a way like cult worship, you know. But anyhow, man, let's get back onto Bivol. The thing is about these young fighters, or the thing about these fighters who want to get their foot in the door, and what I mean by get their foot in the door, the thing about these fighters who want to like make their name and let people know that they're here, you know, most of the time, unfortunately, they're just so good that, you know, that people don't want that smoke and really are trying to stay away from that work, you know. And another thing is, I'm not going to lie to you. Fighters who have that don't really have that big of a fan base, you know what I mean? And I'm just letting you know right now, you know, fighters like Canelo, fighters like Triple G, right? They have such a fan base that it doesn't matter who they fight, their fans will be happy, okay? But at the same time, it's like they fight like, it's like, the best way to describe it is that their fans make them out to be better than they actually are, you know. Whereas the people with lesser fan bases are better, you know, skillfully they're better, you know. I'll give you an example. Earl Spence. When Earl Spence fought Mikey Garcia, the impression was that Mikey Garcia was going to go in there and box circles around Earl Spence. That was the impression that people had, right? Mikey Garcia had a bigger fan base than Earl Spence. Maybe not at the fight, but outside of the fight, you know, many people were capping for Mikey Garcia more so than I want to say Earl Spence. Now, Earl Spence went in there and boxed circles around Mikey Garcia, okay? He put on a boxing clinic. He basically sat Mikey Garcia down in the school desk, gave him some paper and some pencils and said, "Here, take notes," right? Because of that, it catapulted Earl Spence it gave Earl Spence some leveraging, okay? Well, at first, many people thought that, you know, Earl Spence was just some flat-footed fighter that just came forward and seeked and destroyed, you know? But on top of that, though, because unfortunately, and I'm just going to keep it a buck, because of Earl Spence's race, that played into effect as well, because, you know, the narrative was that Earl Spence is just a flat-footed guy who seeks and destroy, and he's boring. You know, oh, he's boring. He just does the same thing, right? But what is Triple G then? If he's not just a flat-footed guy who just goes and seeks and destroy, what is he? But these same decaf seem to not have a problem with in regards to that, right? So, what needs to be said is that back to my point that I was getting at. When you are a skillful fighter, when you are a fighter who has many layers to your game and things like that, but you necessarily don't have the fan base, then it's kind of unfortunate that you're put in the position that, you know, although you want to negotiate, although you want to get these big fights, chances are the quote unquote cash cow usually has bargaining room to say, you know, I don't have to fight this dude, you know, and the fans will agree with them not fighting the guy who is trying to get in the door. Now, granted, you know, the guy who's trying to get in the door, there's a chance that he may lose. Absolutely, there's a chance that he may lose, but the chance that he may lose does not outweigh the chance that he'll win, you know. And that's the problem. And the fighter knows that too. But, you know, these fanboys will say that this fighter will get beat by their guy. But, you know, I think deep inside they know what will happen, you know. But, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, Bivol, let's see what happens, man. Let's see who steps up first and takes that fade, you know. Because what probably will happen is that after the Pascal fight, then Marcus Brown will probably have to fight Bivol, you know. And, I mean, if he steps up and fights Bivol, I give him more respect than the people who Bivol sent offers to, you know. Because they came back with crickets. So with that being said, man, leave your thoughts and leave your comments. Let me know what you think about Bivol, man. For me, honestly, he's the best light heavyweight, in my humble opinion. And I think he beats everybody at light heavyweight. But Fool is signing out. Enjoy.